There is a moment that often goes unnoticed, because it looks productive on the outside. You sit down, open your laptop, and feel a strange sense of relief. Your hands start moving. Tasks line up in your mind. Messages get answered. Lists get cleared. And for a while, the noise inside you quiets down. Not because things are calm, but because you are busy. Stillness, on the other hand, feels different. Uncomfortable. Almost dangerous. When there is nothing to do, something rises instead. A vague tension in the chest. An unease that doesn't have a clear name. You might call it restlessness, or boredom, or guilt. But underneath it is something heavier. A sense that if you stop, something will catch up with you. So you don't stop. From the outside, this looks like discipline, ambition, drive. You are the reliable one, the productive one, the person who gets things done. Others may admire you for it. You may even admire yourself for it, at least sometimes. But there is a private truth beneath all that motion. Productivity doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like a requirement. This is usually where the quiet question begins to form. Not in the middle of work, but in the rare moments when you try to rest and can't. When your body slows down but your mind doesn't. When relaxation feels strangely empty or unsettling. Why do I feel anxious the moment I stop being productive? Why does rest feel unsafe? This question is uncomfortable because it threatens a core belief that productivity is simply who you are. That it reflects your values, your strength, your ambition. But for many people, overproductivity is not rooted in desire. It is rooted in fear. Compulsive productivity is often a coping mechanism shaped by early experiences where safety, acceptance, or worth were conditional. In those environments, being useful mattered. Being efficient mattered. Being needed mattered. Rest did not. If love or approval arrived mainly when you performed well, helped others, stayed responsible, or didn't cause problems, your nervous system learned something important. It learned that action equals safety. And stillness does not. This learning doesn't happen through words. It happens through patterns. Through subtle emotional signals. Through what was rewarded and what was ignored. A child who is praised for being so mature learns to suppress needs. A child who steps in when things feel chaotic learns to manage rather than feel. A child who receives warmth only when achieving learns to equate worth with output. As an adult, this shows up quietly but consistently. You struggle to rest without guilt. You feel uneasy on days with no plans. You overwork not only to succeed, but to avoid emotional contact, with others and with yourself. When emotions rise, you redirect into action. When uncertainty appears, you become productive. When you feel empty, you fill the space with tasks. Productivity becomes emotional regulation. There are moments when this pattern becomes visible, though they're easy to dismiss. You finally sit down after a long day, and instead of relief, you feel restless. You reach for your phone, your email, something to do. You promise yourself you'll relax after just one more task. Or you take a day off and spend it reorganizing, planning, improving, anything but actually stopping. Often, identity becomes tied to usefulness. Being needed feels grounding. Being efficient feels stabilizing. You may even feel uneasy in relationships where nothing is demanded of you, because demand has always been the signal that you matter. Over time, exhaustion builds. But even exhaustion doesn't grant permission to rest. Instead, it becomes another thing to push through. Another problem to manage. Another reason to prove resilience. This is where self-criticism enters. Why can't I slow down like other people? Why do I feel lazy the moment I stop? Why is it never enough? The turning point doesn't come from working harder or forcing rest. It comes from recognizing what overproductivity is actually doing for you. It is not serving your goals as much as it is protecting your nervous system from something it learned to fear. The key insight is quiet but powerful. For many people, rest feels unsafe not because they are incapable of relaxing, but because rest once meant vulnerability. It meant exposure. It meant being left alone with feelings that no one helped regulate. So the system learned to stay busy. This recognition can be unsettling. It reframes productivity not as pure ambition, but as a form of hyper-responsibility, a way to maintain control when emotional unpredictability once felt overwhelming. It explains why slowing down doesn't feel neutral, but threatening. Why doing nothing can feel like doing something wrong. When this insight lands, there is often a pause. A moment of stillness that feels different from before. Not forced. Not empty. Just aware. From here, the relationship with productivity begins to change, not through rules or advice, but through understanding. You start to notice when work is driven by curiosity or purpose, and when it is driven by fear. You notice how quickly you move toward tasks when emotions surface. You begin to see the pattern without immediately acting on it. This isn't about becoming less capable or less driven. It's about recognizing that your worth was never meant to be measured by constant output. That your nervous system learned a strategy that kept you safe once, and has been working overtime ever since. The closing truth is simple, but it carries weight. Overproductivity isn't ambition. It's what happens when rest once felt unsafe. When slowing down meant losing control, connection, or value. Understanding this doesn't demand immediate change. It simply allows you to sit with the realization that the pressure you feel has a history. And that beneath all that motion, there has always been a human need, not to do more, but to finally feel safe enough to stop.